Hi, my name is Brandon Hill, and I chose to do my persuasive speech on tobacco and should tobacco products be legal or illegal. There are uh, there are many different types of tobacco products, to say the least, out there, and none of them are actually beneficial to your health. You have different types such as like cigars, cigarettes. You have dip, snuff, chew, and I mean there's others out there that they're coming out with now. When it comes to different types of tobaccos, um, they all come like cigars, for instance. They come in different sizes, shapes, prices, and I'd say that cigars and actual chew are one of the two worst things out there for you. And then it goes to dip and the cigarettes. But more people were actually addicted to cigarettes and dip than they are to actual cigars and stuff. Cigars are also used in like celebration types, like for baby babies being born and stuff like that. Like a lot of fathers will celebrate with cigars and stuff like that. No matter what, you've got to be over the age of 18 to purchase any sort of legal tobacco products, and most of them are readily available. You can get them at gas stations and stuff like that. Dip is actually a horrible addiction. I was actually previously addicted to dip for about 10 years, and I quit back in November of 2013. Um, Dip is one of the things that is the hardest things in my life that I've ever had to quit. It affects your body actually worse than cigarette does. Um, it comes in a can small enough where you can put it in any one of your pockets. I mean, it's readily available for everybody, and it's actually made with like fiberglass materials that's inside the dip that actually will like sever the inside of your lip, and that's how it enters your bloodstream, and that's how your body gets its nicotine. Chew's been around for years. I mean, a lot of the like old Wild West cowboys and stuff like that made this popular. It comes in like a bag or a pouch, and I mean, it is what it is. You just chew on it, really. Um, and then when it comes to tobacco, I've also compared it to alcohol and drugs in other instances. I mean, when it comes to this, none of it I would say is good or available like any sort of nutrients for your body. Um, Alcohol does serve good purposes, and it has been said that like red wine, I mean, if you drink it in moderation, they say it can be healthy for your heart, and actually that there is some sorts of like harder liquors out there that are good, like for cleaning purposes and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't say it's good for your body, but even going to like a lot of like Japanese restaurants and stuff like that, they use like rum as a sterilization tool. They use it to clean grills, they use it to clean instruments and tools. So they use it to sterilize stuff. But also, on the other hand, when it comes to drugs, drugs have no beneficial outcome. I mean, they have said that yes, that medical marijuana is good for people with glaucoma because it helps reduce stress levels and stuff like that. Even states like Colorado has legalized it. I mean, Washington State has gone as far and said that you can be caught with, X amount with it only being a fine and no longer even a misdemeanor. Cocaine has been used in the past in medical fields. They've used it to help numb patients, and they've actually used it to stop the bleeding. And a funny story is that actually I've I guess you could say I've done cocaine one time when I was a child. I severely broke my nose in 3 places, and when I had to go to the doctors to have them reset my nose, they actually put cocaine on 2 white strips of, I guess it was paper or whatever medical strip it was, and they pack it up my nose to help with it helps numb your body and actually stops the bleeding. And the doctor said that in the medical field, when used like that, your body does not become addicted to it because it's being used to actually stop the bleeding instead of getting like high off of it. So I don't think that tobacco and these drugs really compare. I mean, yes, drugs, if in the wrong hands, I mean, they're dangerous to anyone. Same with alcohol. I feel like there is just as many alcoholics and drug addicts out there today as there are people who use tobacco products. And back in the early 1900s, I mean, you saw where they tried to use prohibition to get rid of alcohol. And I believe that, my personal opinion, it would be the same stance if they tried to do the same thing with tobacco products, where the black market would be overwhelmed with different sorts of tobacco products if they tried to do the same thing like they did with prohibition back in the day. When it comes to actual medical costs for tobacco, they're skyrocketing every year and booming. The campaign for tobacco-free kids started in 2014, stated that just for smoking alone in public and private health care, it was 132.5 billion each year that they stated. If that doesn't catch anybody alarming or surprised, I mean, you'd have to know that 6.3 billion was also spent on just secondhand smoke alone. Think of the kid that is riding in the backseat of a car with a parent smoking a cigarette going down the road. I mean, that child is being affected just as much as the person smoking the cigarette. I mean, and what a lot of people don't realize is that, especially for kids, addictions are a lot worse than they are for adults. They say that 3 out of 4 kids who smoked back in high school or before the age of 18 are actually addicted. They become addicted and stay addicted as adults. So, I mean, the earlier that you introduce them to these tobacco products, the worse it is for them, because they're more likely to become addicted to it. So, I mean, the medical cost is just alarming. Even the American Cancer Society did a study and estimated that the average pack of cigarettes costs around $6.36. I mean, now that you know the average cost of a pack of cigarettes here in the United States, they say that add an additional $35 in health costs down the road to that pack of cigarettes that you buy. That's the equivalent to what you would be paying down in like the long term. So that's over $40 you would pay just for a pack of cigarettes. When it comes to addictive properties, tobacco, even when it comes to smoking a cigarette, it enters the bloodstream within 10 seconds. And it travels to the brain. That's where your brain releases energy, and that's where you get that buzz and that high from. After you get done smoking, it leaves you with a feeling tired, and the pleasure feeling leaves. I mean, it's a vicious cycle, and that's what leads you to smoke that next cigarette, and then the next cigarette, and that's how you become addicted to chemicals such as nicotine. You don't actually become addicted to the tobacco product itself, but you become dependent upon the nicotine. That's what gives you that high, that drive in it. Nicotine is defined as a toxic, colorless, yellow, oily liquid that is the chief that's like the main basin of tobacco, and it acts as a stimulant in a small doses, but larger amounts blocks the addiction or the action of automatic nerve and skeletal muscle cells. So, I mean, if tobacco was made illegal, all the people who smoked, all the people who dipped, chewed, any people who used tobacco products, they would all go through withdrawals in one form or another. The demand on the black market would skyrocket. People who were in business with cigarette companies would lose their jobs, even small mom and pop cigar shops on the corners. These people would be losing their jobs. But on a positive side, I mean, littering that would put a halt to littering a lot. The government would not gain the tax revenue that they get from the tobacco products. When it comes to actual revenue lost, a lot of farmers who farm tobacco as cash crops ever since the pioneer days they would lose a large cash crop product that they had. I mean, the government won't be able to tax it. The farmers lose that. A lot of people will lose their jobs. But in the long run, I mean, would you prefer to have lost money or lost lives in the long run? So, being the fact that I did tobacco products for 10 years, I would say there's nothing positive that comes out of tobacco. And if some people have to lose revenue, even our country, then I say it's worth it. I say that they should put a ban on tobacco products. And that's my persuasive speech. Thank you.